Well, hello there. Welcome to this vid. It's the first game video I've ever put together. On the rare occasions when I produce anything, they're normally IT training vids. But a bit of background to this. I was doing a run through of Skyrim with the Interesting NPCs mod, and I got into a whole bunch of trouble. And I couldn't find an awful lot online to help out. So after eventually sorting out the problems myself, I thought I'd put this together to help other people. I'm guessing that's how you ended up here. You did a search for issues with Isobel and found this. First, though, a bit of credit where credit's due. I've got to put out a big salute to a guy called Kris Takahashi, who wrote the Interesting NPCs mod. So go check out his website. It's well worth looking at. You can find a background to all of the characters, credits to all the voice actors, etc. there. And of course you can download the mod from all the usual places. Nexus Mod's where I get mine. So, as I've said, the mod is absolutely wonderful, full of characters, full of quests, but one of the things that I wanted to try out was it has a character in it called Isobel. Now, reading online, it looks like Isobel has this reputation of being the best marriage candidate in the game. She's got lots of dialogue and lots of extra bits and pieces based around the whole marriage experience, so thought we'd give it a try. Needless to say, I stuffed it up. I got it wrong completely, and it took me ages to figure out how to get out of trouble. So the first part of the video is just the walkthrough, and then we go on to the bug fixes. So if you want to skip to any part, then by all means you can go through and look at the various stages, the first meeting, the date, the proposal, the ceremony and moving to your new home, or you can cut straight to the bug fixes. So working out what the codes are that you need and resetting the quest, and then actually, if all else fails, getting yourself round to a complete restart on it. Okay, off we go. Over to your first meeting with Isobel and how it should go.
What do you need?
Oh, hello there. What can I do for you? Blades, gauntlets, I can forge anything you need. So you're a charmer. I should be careful around you. Now I'm not going to refuse a compliment, but you're wrong about the hands. They're as callous as a dead rath's backside, and like any good smith, I wear them with pride. But I'm not a blacksmith yet, just Isobel the apprentice. I've come to Skyrim as part of a pilgrimage to learn how the great lord smiths such fine blades. Not just any family. Ever heard of the Starblood Forge? My family has been the caretaker of it for centuries. It was made not long after the Oblivion Crisis, and next to the old memorial and the hero statue, it's one of the most iconic landmarks in Kvatch. They say it was built atop a well of Daedric blood, and it's in that well that the weapons are cooled. Some even say that the forge itself is haunted, specifically with the soul of one of my ancestors. Legend has it that when the Daedra invaded, she refused to leave her shop, smithing weapons for the townsfolk until the last man had fallen. That's why only those who share her blood can use the forge, and tradition that the firstborn daughter will be the one to inherit it. That would be me. It's an honor, I suppose. I know. Some people think it's the pressure or the burden of carrying on the family name, but the truth is, it's the clients. It's not like the Skyforge here. If I took over the family business, I would be crafting swords for nobles. They would be decorative art pieces, locked away in display cases, or mounted over their beds. I would be an artist more than a blacksmith. There'd be no blood on my blades, no chinks in my armor. That's not what I want. I want to craft weapons for heroes. I want to forge weapons that will slay tyrants and craft armor that repels dragonfire. I wouldn't go that far. I've met some pretty smart mud crabs, but none were as sharp as you. The responsibility of the forge would likely go to the next daughter in line, my sister Felicia. A fine choice. She has always been the more creative smith. Diamond-encrusted pommels, hilts that shimmered like drake scales. Everything she made was beautiful. And it wouldn't matter that the blades couldn't cut warm butter. Nobody would ever use them for battle. I probably shouldn't have used the word haunted. It's not like that at all. She's more of a guardian spirit. When it comes time for me to inherit the forge, there's a ritual. A test, actually. Alright. It's alright. Although we've gotten a lot less visitors after the dragon attacked Helgen. That's what I enjoyed most, meeting all the travellers across the border from Cyrodiil and sharing stories of home. But now you're here, and I can tell just by looking at your hands that you've got stories to tell. You're brave to ask a woman out you barely even know. That's a fine quality for an adventurer. Alright, how about you meet me at the inn for a drink? I'll be finished here around sundown. Good steel's worth every septim, remember that.
Great, you've got past the first stage. That's more than I managed on my first run through. So, over the road to Dead Man's Drink, where we'll meet Isobel. She gets off about 8 o'clock, so fill in some time or head on over and wait.
Down with Ulfric, the killer of kings. On the day of your death we will drink and we'll sing. We're the children of Skyrim and we fight all our lives. And when Sovngarde beckons...
Some of the miners brought back some real stubborn pieces of ore. It'll take some extra care to turn them into proper weapons.
But this land is ours and we'll see it wiped clean. Of the
Why, were you
that
worried
has
I'd stand you
sullied
up?
our
Not
hopes
likely.
and ours.
The locals call me the town greeter. I never pass on a chance to talk to a fresh face. So I'm here. We can get to know each other first and our drinks second. But the other way is fine too. That's right. I was born there after the Great War. A lot of children were, once everyone knew we'd have peace. As you can imagine, it's a city that reveres its heroes. None more so than the hero of Kvatch, whose statue stands in the castle courtyard. I remember when the other kids played hide and seek. We used it as a starting point. But I just stayed there the whole time, marveling at it. The hero of Kvatch was my idol. But my mother was always quick to remind me that no hero does it alone. That's how I was hooked into the blacksmith trade. I wanted to be the next hero's shield. I wanted to be their armor and their sword. I admit, I had a fantasy or two about the hero of Kvatch, and part of me used to dream of being the wife of a great hero. That's why I'm in Skyrim. With the war and the talk of dragons, maybe I'll meet the great legend right here in Falkreath. Maybe that might be you.
Hey, gossip, bring me a drink.
Bolund, you're going to die of thirst if you keep calling me
Me
that.
and Lord? By the 8, no. He's old enough to be my grandfather, I think, and slow enough to be my anvil.
Pay homage.
That and he's not my type. I prefer strong leaders, brave warriors, and a sense of humour wouldn't hurt. But Lord's a good man, loyal and kind.
Yeah, be careful here. The mod does give you the opportunity to mess things up. Say something stupid and it's all over.
Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who was riding to
So you
Whiterun
definitely
for
have a
war
sense of
instead.
humour. And I can tell just by looking at you that you're
Braggart did
strong
swagger
and brave.
blade as he told of bold
Which
battles
makes
and
3 out of
bold he
3.
had
I'm
made.
officially swooning.
But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden
Well, I got my
Matilda,
start
who
in
said,
solitude. I wanted to forge arms for all the brave legionnaires fighting in Skyrim. I got off the docks with nothing but a sack over my shoulder. I never told Baron who my family was. I didn't want to colour his perception of me, so I said I was a traveller and asked if he needed an apprentice. He said he already had one. He let me work the forge when it was free. At first he never said a word, but pretty soon he couldn't help but dole out advice. He'd say something like, "Those dart wings you call arms can't shape steel. Put your hips into it." I forget how hot the forge is back home. The metal there's a lot easier to shape. But with Baron's help, I learned to smith the Nord way. Eventually, he thought enough of me that I should get a proper master. He sent a letter to Whiterun, and I couldn't contain my excitement. Then I met Adrienne. I recall looking at her modest setup, and with a straight face telling her how impressive the Skyforge was. Adrienne didn't think so. She pointed up at the great eagle perched high beside Dragon's Reach and said, "Child, if this is the Skyforge, what in oblivion is that thing?"
Great, you've reached another checkpoint. So, if you managed to get this far without actually insulting her or saying anything dumb, then she's ready to ask some questions about you.
Alright, now it's my turn. So what's it like being an adventurer? It must be exciting to wander Skyrim, never knowing what tomorrow will bring. That sounds amazing. I can't even begin to imagine the sort of rush that comes with taking on a troll, or a group of angry bandits. But when I craft something, a part of me can be in your hand. Be your sword or your shield, so you never have to go it alone. I don't know what to say. Am I blushing? I feel like I'm blushing. The truth is, I've always dreamed of someone like you coming into town, righting wrongs, helping the townsfolk, and maybe falling in love with the blacksmith's apprentice. I'd forge your weapons and armour, and they would keep you company on the lonely road. I'd hammer out any dent, sharpen every edge, so your weapons and our love would be born in you. Our story practically writes itself. All that's left is for you to save the town. No, but really, I have a good feeling about you. You can do a lot of good around here. Maybe then, when you come by the forge, I'll have something worthy of you. But for now, it's getting late, and I have a long day ahead of me. Until next time.
When Sovngarde beckons, every one of us dies. But this land is ours, and we'll
You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords.
Good stuff. So, you've got through the date. The next stage is pop in the question. Now, that happens tomorrow or the next day or whenever, but when you come back to see her at the forge. Before you can do it that though, there are some prerequisites that you have to fulfill. You need to do the visit to Maramel at the Temple of Mara in Riften and ask about marriage and what you have to do. So get that out of the way.
Wonderful. Where to begin? Mara is the goddess of love. The temple spreads her gifts by tending to the sick, the poor, and the lost. We also perform wedding ceremonies for all the loving couples in Skyrim.
Okay, so you've done that, but you've also got to have and wear the Amulet of Mara. You can get that from the priest, or you can find it all around the place. Finally, to prove that you are a genuine hero of Falkreath, you've got to be declared Thane.
An amulet of Mara. Someone like yourself deserves a wife who can repair your armour and forge your weapons. Well, of course I'd fashion a blade for you. After all you've done for the city, I'd be honoured. Although, to be honest, I'm a little worried what it might say. I've heard that in orc strongholds, the forge wife will craft a weapon for the chief on their wedding day. It convey all her feelings, desires, fears, and in the blade, he'll see her naked for the first time. So what I suppose I'm saying is, I couldn't craft you a weapon without telling you how I feel. And it's one thing for me to say it now, and another thing for you to carry it with you. And I will spend the rest of my life with you, whether it's me in your arms or my sword in your hands. Talk to the priest in Riften. We can marry at the Temple of Mara.
She said yes. Okay, so get your sorry backside over to the Temple of Mara again in Riften, speak to the priest and arrange the marriage. He'll give you instructions about the marriage taking place at dawn the next day. Do not miss it. When he says dawn, he means dawn. If you turn up at 8 o'clock, you will have missed the marriage, and that's it. Everyone goes off in a huff, and you do not get a better chance. Return to last save game and try again. So, you'll see a load of people coming in to watch the ceremony. On you go. Say yes.
I've been giving Helga mountain flowers every day, and every day I find them in the waste bucket.
How about the white cotton? Perhaps Helga does not like the flowers with colors.
Maybe you're right. I'll take 50.
There is a special today on every. You must buy it to get it.
Ah, here's the proud groom now. Let's begin the ceremony. It was Mara that first gave birth to all of creation and pledged to watch over us as her children. It is from her love of us that we first learned to love one another. It is from this love that we learn that a life lived alone is no life at all. We gather here today under Mara's loving gaze to bear witness to the union of two souls in eternal companionship. May they journey forth together in this life and in the next, in prosperity and poverty, and in joy and hardship. Do you agree to be bound together in love, now and forever?
I do, now and forever.
Do you agree to be bound together in love, now and forever? Under the authority of Mara, the divine of love, I declare this couple to be wed. I present the two of you with these matching rings, blessed by Mara's divine grace. May they protect each of you in your new life together.
So we're married. All that's left now is deciding on a place to live. Our new home. I wonder if there's room for a forge.
Well, and really, that's all there is to it. Wedding's over, and home sweet home time, off to wherever you've chosen to live.
It's funny, I thought having to take care of a place like this would make me lose my smithing touch, but I think I've gotten better. There's been some attacks late at night, mostly on the livestock around town. I better forge some better blades for the guards, just in case. I agree. I hear all about your adventures from the locals, but not about your past. For instance, your favorite book, or something heavy like your first love. I'll go first. I'd say my first love was the hero of Kvatch, but that doesn't really count. You can't really love a dead person. I suppose I never really loved anyone other than you. Even my first kiss was devoid of all romance. There was this girl who really liked my brother, Larius, and he fancied her as well. But she was nervous about having to kiss him. She thought she wouldn't be any good. So, helpful person that I was, I decided to let her practice on me. It would have been a great help too, if my brother didn't catch us during one of our practice sessions. I think he's still dealing with the scars.
Well, that's about it. That's how it's supposed to go. needless to say, it doesn't always go there, and that's what we'll be dealing with next. I guess my next little project is going to be to fire up Jackson's positioner and build Isobel a forge down in the basement of Proud Spire Manor. Before we go on to the fixes, which is probably what you're here for, one quick question. Has anyone else noticed Lod's eyes? I mean, this guy is weird. He looks a bit like an extra from a bad day on The Walking Dead. Anyway, on to the fixes. Welcome to part 2 of this video. If you're here, it means that something's probably gone wrong for you. It certainly did for me. Hopefully in this second section I'll be able to talk you through how to fix some of the more common problems. The first issue that I found was that I couldn't get the date offer. What happened was that I'd met Isobel previously while I was on another quest, and although we'd had the long conversation and the date had come up, I didn't take her up on it. And as well, I'm guessing you only get one shot at this, so every subsequent time we visited, then like this, no date option, no first greeting.
The blades and armor here are forged with purpose. Until next time.
So, what you'll need to do is fire up the console. Identify Isobel. You can do that by clicking on her, and then you'll need to type in the following commands. Show quest variables, and the quest title is Dialogue Isobel. There's the quest ID. Make sure you note that down as well, and Isobel's number's underneath there as well. Don't worry about writing down these console commands. I'll put them all in the video description so that you can copy and paste. We're going to reset that quest back to its original status, hopefully. There we go. Now try again.
Oh, hello there. What can I do for you? Blades, gauntlets, I can forge anything you need. So you're a charmer. I should be careful around you. Now I'm not going to refuse a compliment, but you're wrong about the hands. They're as callous as a dead rat's backside, and like any good smith, I wear them with pride.
Okay, so
But I'm not
that
a
worked.
blacksmith yet.
But that's not the end of it. I found that I still had a problem. After the date and everything else, we still came back to...
I take care in every piece I fashion, because I know it's the difference between
So,
life and
again, no option to go forward to marriage. So, here we go. Let's take this back to basics. We'll select Isobel. We could do this by clicking or by entering the ID. We'll then add her or make sure she is a member of the marriage faction. Make sure that she cares enough about us so that we can go on to the next stage. And now let's try that again and see what happens.
next time.
Make sure you're wearing that amulet of Mara.
Amulet of Mara. Someone like yourself deserves a wife who can repair your armor and forge your weapons. Well, of course I'd fashion a blade for you.
Yay!
After all you've done for the city, I'd be honoured. Although, to be honest, I'm a little
Okay,
worried what
well,
you'll say.
that's it. We've succeeded. Well, at this point, normally what happens is I would say check out my other videos, but as I haven't made any, I can't do that. So it just remains for me once again to say a huge thank you to Kris Takahashi, who wrote the Interesting NPC mods. Lots of kudos as well to, and I hope I pronounce this right, Anna Castigliani, who is the very talented voice actress and no mean modder in her own right, who provides the voice of Isobel. And of course, some thanks to Bethesda for producing what is the only game in many years to keep my attention for more than a couple of days. Cheers. If you want anything else like this, if this was useful, drop me a line and we'll see if I can do something like this again after a few too many gin and tonics. Thank you and good night.